and welcome back to the School for Professional Dog Listeners video channel. Today you've got Kate and I discussing puppy socialization. So this is one that is very close to my heart because I feel like there is a lot of negative consequences for our dogs when we use the term puppy socialization in an unhelpful way. So, what do I mean by that? So, puppy socialization, we are often told that you need to put your dog to absolutely all at once. And today we're going to look at what this term puppy socialization actually means.
Mm.
Um, how we might know if a puppy is being over socialized, and what would be a better way to go about it. So, Kate, what's your understanding of the term puppy socialization?
Yeah, I think that we have really almost built up socialization into this big, massive thing
Mhm.
for puppies. And it's like I've seen lists online, 100 things that you should do with your puppy in like the first year of their life or something, And it kind of links back to what we were discussing last week, actually, that if you don't do these things, then you're a bad dog owner. And yeah, socialization, what people think it is exposing your puppy to absolutely everything so they don't ever display any undesirable behaviors ever and getting it
Yeah.
right. And there's pressure on the owners to get it right, because if you don't get it right, you're going to have an aggressive dog, you're going to have a bad dog. Um, and so, yeah, socialization's been built up for me in this big way.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. And I think, like you say, it's like that there'll be a bad dog owner, or a lot of people like come to me with, I just want to get it right.
Mm,
And it's like, well, what if there isn't a right way? What if your dog's just, or your puppy is just basically acclimatizing to the world? They're coming into your home and they are just familiarizing themselves with the world, and you don't actually have to do anything. And you certainly don't have to do anything within some time window. I mean, I've even heard of 6 weeks. Once they're over 6 weeks, not over 6 weeks, but 6 weeks from when you get them,
mm.
I think it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, which again is kind of weird anyway, because it depends how old you get your dog and all that kind of thing. So, yes, there's definitely a pressure around this socialization thing. And I think originally, I think maybe socialization was just socializing the dog with other dogs. But now it's socializing them with absolute, like you say, absolutely everything, like the Hoover and the dishwasher and the washing machine and the postman and all your friends. And oh, they have to get on with kids and they have to like babies and buggies and bikes. This little puppy. What if we could just enjoy this puppy for the first, well, forever really, but just, look at it like, okay, first year, let's say, let's take the pressure off, first year. And this is before we've even taken into account the puppy's personality and what they're actually going to ever be able to cope with. Do you
Mm.
know? So yeah, what would you see as examples of over socialization? So let's, if we're using the word socialization to mean anything really,
Yeah.
not with other dogs, but what would be a kind of sign that when you go to see somebody and you're like, okay, let me kind of see what's going on here, reading between the lines, as it were.
Yeah. I think a lot of puppies can't relax. They're just not sleeping. They even when they're put in a crate, they're just anxious quite a lot of the time. They're overstimulated. And I think some of the some of the big things that I see around puppy socialization is that they want them to be okay around other dogs, so they'll take them to these puppy socialization classes. And so for us as dog listeners, because we know how the dogs view the world and we see it through the dog's eyes, if we look at it from that perspective, they've only just come to your house. So there's lots of new smells and everything. There's new people, there's different rules, there's lots of things going on, lots of things to get used to. Then you take them out of that environment and put them in a brand new environment where there's lots of different people, dogs, smells, and sometimes it can just be overwhelming for puppies. Well, most of the time. And sometimes you'll see puppies that are zooming around everywhere. Sometimes you'll see puppies really hiding away from it and or like lowering themselves because they're scared. And it's just almost forcing a puppy into a situation that they would never choose themselves to be in. And so, yeah, I think from our perspective as dog listeners, isn't it? We always look at it from the dog's perspective, through the dog's eyes. And so, yeah, I think when we see puppies that are over socialized, they're sometimes really scared, um, and can't relax, and
Yeah.
asking a lot of questions.
Yes, and when we say questions, we mean things like, there's a certain level of teething and nipping and things like that, but it can just get really excessive really quickly. That would be a real sign. Like you say, the zoomies, that's a real sign. If someone says to me, oh, my dog's got the zoomies every night, I'm like,
Yeah, the
okay, well,
witching
what's
hour. People call it the
the
witching.
witching hour? Yes, the witching hour. And so that would immediately I don't think, okay, what am I going to do about these zoomies? I think what has been going on the whole rest of the day that has
Mm,
caused this dog
yes.
to be completely overstimulated, and then they've got the zoomies. So I guess, um, yeah, what we're saying is that there's a better way, there's an easier way, there's a simpler way,
Yeah.
and it's not saying don't ever socialize your dog. It's about understanding that socialization is happening the minute you bring your dog home. There's already lots of things happening in, well, literally every single home. There's, like you said, new smells, there's new furniture, there's just a whole new environment. Then you've got the people that are in there, their personalities, their moods, their state of mind. It's a lot. It really is a lot. And we can just, if there's one, what would you say to people if there was one thing that you could say to someone bringing a new puppy home, or maybe in the throes of that first year of puppyhood, which is always, yeah, quite interesting, let's say. What
Yeah.
would you say as the kind of best piece of advice you could give them?
Yeah, it's one that we give all the time, which is less is more. Like all the time, we're always saying do less and stop putting pressure on yourself to feel like you have to do something with your dog and let it flow naturally and give yourself time. This is not a race, you know. I think people feel pressure because they want to take their dog out into the world and, show it off and all of this, but just take it slowly and enjoy the moments that are, and just let things happen naturally rather than putting that pressure on yourself and the dog to get it right. So yes, less is more is my top tip.
Less is more. Nice, I like it. And just to clarify as well, we are not saying that your dog cannot go to puppy socialization classes because there are some very good, well-run puppy socialization classes. But understand that you're only socializing them to other dogs, and there is a whole world out there.
Mm,
So there's no pressure to do that, and there's certainly no pressure to do it straight away. I
mm,
would always say leave it later, so till you know your dog and you know
mm.
their personality and what they can cope with. And also a good puppy socialization class will be small, and the instructor, that would be the right word, the teacher or instructor would be okay with the dog leaving.
Yeah,
So they wouldn't try and force the dog into a situation that it feels uncomfortable with in order so that it wins a gold medal or whatever the things are. It's like you want to be in a socialization class where it's okay to leave. That is is not frowned upon. That is
Yeah.
encouraged. If the dog is not coping,
Yeah.
then leave and then come back at their own. It might be 10 minutes later, it might be an hour later, it might be next week.
Mm.
So that's kind of what I would say around puppy
Yeah, and
socialization.
I guess we're not saying don't socialize your puppy, but just rethink what socialization is and let it happen naturally and don't put the pressure on yourself and your dog to be the perfect dog. You know, that
Yeah,
your dog's always going to have some kind of quirky behaviors or like undesirable behaviors. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad dog owner. It just means you need to learn to listen to your dog, which is what we do in dog listening, is how we teach people to listen to their dog.
exactly, which is why we're called dog listening.
Mm.
And it that starts literally from the first minute that you meet your puppy and or new puppy and you bring them home. And I really do think that if we can start off with the understanding that the dog is not, there is no perfect dog. Do you
Mm.
know, if we can come at it from that angle and keep listening to them and not get into this fear place of, oh my God, if I don't get everything right, then that's it. You
Yeah.
know, the dog, I'm never going to be able to take the dog to the pub or whatever it is you want to do with your dog. That's just, it's just not true. So I would love to leave you with that thought. And if you have a puppy or you know someone who's getting a puppy, if you can just share with them, just have fun, just take it easy, enjoy it. You cannot break your puppy. It will be fine. That's why we can rescue dogs of 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, and they're not broken. They're
Mhm.
fine. We can
Yeah.
still work with them. So the first year of your puppy's life, there's no pressure to do anything. Um, thank you so much for listening today. And as always, if you could remember to subscribe and like our channel, that would be really helpful. If you know of anyone that this might be of interest to, then of course share it with them. And any comments underneath the video, we love to hear what's going on for you and your dogs. Thank you.
Thanks.